Welcome back, as always, to Stack Your Points. I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined this week by RJ. RJ, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Matt. It probably would help if I plugged in my mic, though.
These things happen.
There we go. Now I sound like a person again.
We did the whole pre-show. We're just like, oh yeah, that didn't happen.
I had my mic sitting in front of me, but after the Thursday Live, I just unplugged it. So it was sitting there, so my brain automatically assumed it was plugged into my computer.
Fair.
Let it ride, Matt. Just let it ride.
Me and my Cadillac. Anyway, we're joined by Lani from the Call Me Lani YouTube channel, also Mr. 80%. Lani, how are you today?
That is me today. And I am doing well, feeling good, looking great, doing well.
For those of you unaware, most of these Easter eggs I'm telling you, go to Lani's channel, join his membership. You'll find out. And we're joined by Lani channel member and co-host Craig. Craig, how are you tonight?
I am I have a new mic, so hopefully people will stop complaining about audio. So that's awesome. But I'm currently not Craig. I'm the re-necromancied corpse of Craig after a long work assignment.
That is fair. And if you still have complaints about Craig's audio, keep them to yourself. He sounds great. As always, and today is just brought to you by Tylenol for so many ways. And we are lacking a news roundup for this week. You know what? We're going to move over to topics. And RJ, we'll have you start with topics this week.
So mine is a pretty straightforward one, but one I think we should talk about before we talk about the other stuff we are tonight. We've gotten into it a little bit. Mine is just like, how do you measure a refresh? Are you looking at every card in the lineup? So with the platinum refresh, are you looking at what they did prior with the gold, the green, any other cards, the cards that they took away and still haven't really talked about? Are you looking at the CSR as a comparable or the Venture X? Like, how do you do it? For me personally, and Craig and I talked about this a little bit on the live, I at first I keep it siloed, right? Like I'm just looking at the prior platinum and this platinum. And then I will take a look at, okay, what did they do last time with the gold? What's their lineup look like? That's more second level. Third level is compare it to everything else. But my initial thoughts for probably the first week or two are really just this card versus the last version of the card. That seems to be a little bit rare among people. So I'm always interested in how we each divide that up. And the person I actually probably know this about the least because I've had a very long day and haven't seen his videos on this topic yet is Matt. So, Matt, give me the TLDR of your, I'm sure, incredibly well thought out videos that I will watch tomorrow.
So with the platinum, it was a question of, did they make the card better than it was objectively? Yes. How do I measure it? I compare it to what it was. Like, are you getting more value now? Are you getting less value now? Did they change the value prop significantly enough that it's maybe not worth holding anymore or not worth applying for? Did they fundamentally change the DNA of the card and present their competitors 4 months with which to do something about it in order to steal market share from them? What they did? What were they thinking? Product managers at Chase got to get fired. Anyway, so how do I measure a refresh? First and foremost, how does it stack up against itself? And then if it's largely good and largely expands upon the card that it is, like the platinum, like you can look at the rest of the lineup and ask, do you really need the card? Something that was interesting on my platinum video that I put out over the week, right before the weekend. There are folks now who can convince themselves that they don't need the green or the gold card to supplement the platinum because the credits with Resi are such that you're getting more back every year in Resi credits on dining. They don't need to consider the gold card. This is a take. It is a take. It is an interesting thing there. I don't know that I agree with it. I think that if you are in a position where you are trying to acquire points, having cards that make it better to acquire points is a better path to point prosperity, but you're certainly entitled to the opinions that you have. That is an interesting measurement of the refresh. I will look at the card first. If the card is part of an ecosystem, I will look at the rest of the ecosystem to see what fits, what doesn't fit. The Sapphire Reserve refresh, compare when you add in the preferred that you can now get because they've lifted the one Sapphire rule, there's some places of synergy. The Freedom cards still look a little out of place just because you still have the 1.5 on the Freedom Unlimited. You still got a lot of overlapping categories. Is this changing the DNA of the Sapphire Reserve? Does this allow them, is this going to allow them to finally change the DNA of their Freedom cards to not be so copycat of the top end cards? One of them can keep dining, the other one shouldn't, in my opinion. Looking at comparables, everybody wanted to wait and see what the Platinum refresh looked like before giving full evaluation to the Sapphire Reserve. And Thursday afternoon, it was the Sapphire Reserve is dead. Long live the MX Plat. Seemed to be the general consensus that I was seeing in various places. So, do I measure against the comps? Yes and no. Like, I will bring them up for content. I myself, since nothing changed significantly to make the Platinum worth it for me, I'm not going to compare the CSR to the Platinum. Like, I'm still comparing the CSR to what it was and the value prop there of 795 versus 550. And yes, I can get to 795 a lot quicker with the Sapphire Reserve than I can with 895 with the new Platinum. So I will compare and measure like what the card was primarily and like what the rest of the ecosystem can provide for me before I worry about, oh, what is oh man, how much better does the Capital One Duo now look to me? Do I have to go get the Venture X to pair with my Saver card? Because I've been trying to find ways for a year and a half to get rid of my Saver card. I just haven't found it yet because Capital One likes to give me 0% balance transfer options with it. And why the hell not play with those?
So
Yeah, I look at it that way first.
So does your personal views of things and your, for the lack of a better word, professional views of how you rate things, do you put a firewall there or does it lead with one and then bleed to the other? Because especially for you, right? Like you're the tidbits guy, you do a lot of news roundup, you theorize, you do all of that. Like there was no world they were going to refresh this card where you as a individual person who had to put your social security number on an application, you already have an Amex card, but you were not the person anybody thought would go for this card. But you still have to care to a fair degree because of this podcast and your own channel. So does that lead in change how you look at things?
News-wise, no. What really struck me was the change in attitude so seemingly instantaneously that seemed to happen with folks who, like, the same people a year ago were complaining about Amex credit fatigue and were complaining the coupon books are so bad. I don't know how much more I can take from Amex with the coupon books. Amex said, here's more coupons and bigger coupons and here's more. And everyone just glommed onto it and went, oh, you didn't change FHR. That's great. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. That was what threw me off more. And that like personal feeling led into some of my initial reactions when I did my Amex Platinum video, because I don't open with the card itself. I open by talking about Edward Bernays a little bit. Bernays is the father, like the person who made public relations and like marketing what it is today more than 70 years ago, or like 80 years ago now. And some of it, 90 years ago, some of the things he did, not great. So, he's Sigmund Freud's nephew, and he took Freud and put Freud in public relations. And that was a very dangerous and volatile mix that still extends to today. And it was my feeling that Amex took that and ran with it. So professional, for lack of a better word, like the refresh really didn't change anything professionally. Like what struck me and led into the video that I did was more the personal observation and the personal reflection of, holy crap, what happened here? This is not the reaction I was expecting, because it's more coupons, like bigger coupons, flashier coupons, but coupons nonetheless, where the thinking was coupons are inevitable, yes, but don't rely on coupons, where suddenly it was, these coupons are going to give me $1,300 of value instantly.
Okay. You don't like hypocrisy. We have established that on this podcast, that you are allergic to hypocrisy.
Yeah, and if Chase does it, I will call out Chase. And when Amex does it, I will call out Amex. When Capital One does it, I will call out Capital One.
It's more you're calling out the people than you're
Well,
calling
in this
out the
case, I'm calling
companies.
out, yeah, in this case, I'm not calling out the company so much, but I like to think that I call balls and strikes fairly consistently.
Oh, no. When I say you're allergic to hypocrisy, that's a compliment. That is not a slam. Like you will call it out with everybody, and then we will pick on you for it. That is the nature of this podcast. Craig, I'm going to go to you next. You and I had what I think was a lovely conversation on Thursday about this in general. We got into it a little bit towards the end about this topic, which is how I came up with this topic. So thank you for that, sir. How do you look at the refresh? Are you siloing? Are you doing multi steps like I do? How are you figuring this out?
So I try to keep it a little bit separately based upon three different identities. So one, that of the average traveler, that of a business traveler, and then myself. I'm somewhere in between that model. So even with the current new job, I should be probably traveling anywhere between 1 and 3 times a month. Three being like rare, super duper heavy, but not often. How does this play into my life? What does this replace? Is there a good reason for me to use this card? Is it giving me more value than what I currently have in there? Because I'll say this, I am very boomerish in my ways of I might get more value, but do I have to do extra work to do it? No. Okay, let's do it. If the answer is yes, then the refresh wasn't enough. If this refresh doesn't make me say, hey, this gives me a solid value proposition from multiple angles, is it at least 20% better than what I'm doing right now? And if the answer is no, then I don't personally need it. I would still recommend that card to somebody that is starting fresh or looking for a change or looking for those things. But yeah, prime example with the CSR, my value proposition with the CSR are not the credits. It turning into a lifestyle card or staying as a travel card really made me no difference. It was purely, can I travel enough to make the Sapphire Lounges work? And in that sense, yeah, I can. And that's a good refresh because we oftentimes don't talk about the Sapphire Lounge as being a part of the Sapphire refresh, but I look at that as the initial kicking off point of the long-term Sapphire refresh. And who is it for? How does it help you? And if something's not doing at least 20% better than what I currently have, it's a flop for me, right? Now, granted, the platinum, I can get now more than 20% of what I was getting, or 20% on top of what I was already getting. But again, the ultimate decision for me was not this refresh, but just footprint. So quality versus quantity, and the idea of, does this refresh make me not want to be in a Sky Club? No. Do I still want to be in the Sky Club in Detroit? Probably. So as I'm going through and doing those evaluations, it's got to have the value proposition. And if it doesn't, I can't see myself being a good steward of a card or willingly recommending it.
I feel you. I respect it. Lani, as the philosophical one of the group, I think that is your lane, sir. How do you find the place where you're looking at it from a personal standpoint, you're looking at it from a creative or professional standpoint? How do you call your own balls and strikes, to use Matt's metaphor?
I'm selfish. I don't really care what the card can do for everyone else. I'm not everyone else. I am me. And so I'm going to look out for me. And if it can provide me value in whatever way I define value and experience value, intrinsic value, financial value, then sure, that's how I'm going to measure it. And in most cases, other than what can I just get from it, is what can I get from it organically? And I think that's the biggest, I think that's going to be the biggest factor for me. So, like thinking of, I've had the CSR for years and organically, it's been great. The value that is provided, the way that I can earn those chase points, burn those chase points, any perks that it offers, using travel portal, using shopping portals, all that kind of stuff. Using it in Amex, I have to think of it in the same way. Do I think this refresh is great? Yeah. One, because I didn't lose anything from the way that I used it yesterday to the way I use it today. They didn't take anything away. And the reason why I say use the word organic is because, as I mentioned, I have an Aura ring. I've had one for years now. You've seen it in my thumbnails. You've seen it in my videos. It's right here. I'm wearing it right now. And yeah, that's an organic. It's a credit, but it's a organic credit. Something I was going to spend money on, take extra money out of my pocket. So annual fee plus extra money for Aura hardware. Now I don't necessarily have to do that. I already shop at Lulu. We already mentioned that. So that's organic credits that fits into my lifestyle already. I've talked about all the different ways I maximize FHR. Now you're giving me 3x the FHR amount. Once again, organic. Like it's natural for me. To the point where I would burn my 200 and still go book FHR because it's that great of a deal for me in ways, like I said, especially when they do the discounts and all those other things. On the other end is they started giving me all these credits now versus 4 months from now, or when my refresh or when my annual fee hits in 2026. And it's just using FHR. I've already burned my FHR credit in 2025. They just gave me $300 more. So for my $695 annual fee, I get $500 in 2025. Even though I don't have to stay at the hotel in 2025, I can book for 2026, which is what I'm looking at to how I'm going to use it. I'm not going to let it just go down. This one's not going down the drain. Resi can go down the drain. This will not. But when you add all that stuff up, it's oh, this makes total sense where, yeah, this was good. This fit. So it's not, oh, they did something new. Can I make it work, if you will? It's already working. They already took the stuff that I already had working and made it easier for me. I have YouTube TV. They added YouTube Premium and YouTube TV as one of the as entertainment partner credits. If you don't have YouTube TV, it's $83 a month, people. I'll happily take $25 off of that bill. Granted, I was already using that $20 credit with Disney Plus, but as I mentioned in last week's episode, got the Blue Business Blue Business Cash every day, whatever they're called. That product changed over. They get $7 off of Disney Plus. So I'm just going to move Disney Plus over there and I'm going to max out my credit, is what I'm saying. But they used to give me $20 a month. Yeah, that's that one. I'll probably won't use it other than Amazon and Disney Plus, but you know what I'm saying. It's a $0 annual fee card that I made that was taking up a spot, and I'm going to make it valuable. Anyway, neither here nor there. But it used to be a $20 credit that I would get off of a subscription that I would use. Now I'll get a $25 credit. It's already organic. And that's how I'm going to measure it, is the value that I get. And like I said, some of this value might not be financial. Actually, anything that's not financial stayed exactly the same. Still got Centurion Lounge. I don't fly Delta, so I still got my Delta passes. Whatever. It is what it is. That's it. So that's how I measure it. I'm going to be very selfish, as I had mentioned, just how I started. I know a lot of people are like, is this good for everyone? Everyone should go get it. Everyone shouldn't go get it. Everyone should cancel. I don't care what you do. I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. I'm just a guy on the internet. Go do you. Tell me about it later if you want. I don't care. I'm going to take care of me first. And after I'm taken care of, we can have a conversation about whatever else that you want. But I'm going to make sure it takes care of me first. And that's how I'm going to measure it. That's how I measure every single card.
No, I appreciate all of you guys. I think it's interesting to always stop and take a pause of, are we on the same page as to what we're actually talking about? Or are we all looking at it from four very different angles, which is where sometimes tension, not in like fighting, tension in I'm saying this and you're saying this and we are not on the same page. So I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, RJ. Let's continue on with refreshes and Lani, your topic.
I feel like we touched on it, but we can swing through from a slightly different perspective, or add your slightly different perspective to your answer, if you will. So continuing on in the same refresh as we've discussed multiple times already tonight, the platinum received a lot of positive attention. Nothing wrong with that. But I've already said it. They did it right. In my video earlier, I said they did 80% right. There's the Easter egg to why Matt started the episode off to Mr. 80%. there was more to do. I'm not going to get into it. But what actually determined a positive refresh, and what more importantly, and like I said, I'm trying to rephrase it so that we're not asking the same question again, but what type of things would you like to see when a card gets refreshed? The one thing and I'll kick it off with, once again, not to repeat questions that we've already discussed, but one thing I was looking forward to with the Amex refresh was a purpose for you to actually swipe the damn thing. No one actually uses the Amex card except for a credit card, not for a credit, as a lifestyle card. It's a coupon book. Like you don't put it in your wallet. You're not carrying it around with you. You're not really swiping it. If you're a credit card enthusiast, that is, like we are. You're not really swiping it for anything. I wanted to see them give us a reason to swipe it, to actually use it. Spoiler alert, they didn't do that. So, Matt, I'm going to kick it off to you first because you're big on my screen right now. What type of things would you have actually wanted to see on this? Not taking away of what they did, but what would you have actually wanted to see? And also take all the rumors that led up to it out, because I think that will create some bias. But what did you actually want to see when it came to a refresh of this platinum?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would have been more of a reason to swipe the card. Like right now, Amex's biggest sell to swiping to using your platinum to swipe the card is guest access to the Centurion Lounge. When you spend $75,000 a year through the card, you get complimentary guest access. It's the most expensive. Yeah, it's a lot of swipes. It's the most expensive guest access in the world, but they're able to spin it as free guests when you spend $75,000 a year. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more in terms of rewards, like when we were discussing the rumors, when we were discussing like our pie in the sky things, when we were discussing the things that we wanted to see, like one of the consensuses we had was that like even at 1.5 base, this would be like a shot across the bow to everyone that Amex is out to destroy you. And if they had gone to 2%, not only is Amex out to destroy you, Amex is going to destroy you. And they kept it at 1. And I don't know if it is a question of the actuarial table, which is most likely what it is. The bean counters just said we can't do it. Or it was Chase didn't do anything significant with their refresh, and they're getting some heat for what they did. City came out with something interesting, but City's so far behind. Like they've got to catch Capital One, and then they've got to catch Chase before they can even begin the conversation of getting in contention with us. So do we have to match 1.5 there and just put them to bed? Probably not. So I think that a more rewarding experience of swiping the card would have been better, but I don't think that necessarily determines a positive refresh. It would have been the thing that I would have wanted to see to get me going, oh, this is definitely something to consider. It would have been like a 1.5 floor where at least I'm gaining more than 1 point per dollar on my regular swipes if I'm not going to add another card into into an ecosystem with it. The Amex Platinum could very easily become the one card, or like the one card setup with a 1.5 floor. You know, it doesn't need a dining credit. It doesn't need it 5x flights and hotels, 1.5 on everything else. You could do really good with that. You know, that we didn't get that, I can't say is like a negative. You can grade it that way, where it ends up at that 80% because everything else was what we expected. FHR got more, and FHR got more than the edit, and they convinced their hotel partners in FHR not to add it, not to require them to do a second night. That was all they needed to do, and they spent the money to do that. So props to them for doing that. I'm not going to call it bare minimum, but doing the thing that was absolutely essential to not get killed over. Because if FHR went to 2 nights on both the front half and the back half of the year, how many people were going to be upset about that? I can't do my Wednesday night in Vegas for $30. What are we doing? So to that end, that was the big positive. That is the thing to tip your cap to Amex with. The biggest thing that they needed to do was improve FHR, and they did. And they kept it one night. And they didn't do anything where it was, yeah, you've got to do 2 nights. You've got to do the split first half of the year, second half of the year. That was to placate their partners, to give them a little bit more repeat business than annually. Now they've got repeat semi-annual business, and that is more for the hotel. So that's the compromise that the hotel came up, that the hotel is willing to accept, as well as whatever pile of money American Express gave these hotels to keep FHR one night. What determines a positive refresh? Did they make your life better? Did they not make things worse? Yes. Did they make things better for their customers in terms of who's utilizing FHR? Yes. They also didn't take anything away. And I thought that Equinox was going away. I thought that Saks would have been fine going away. And at the end of the day, they didn't do that. The biggest positives were FHR just not touching anything else. And when that's the bar that, when you look at everything else that's happened refresh wise, all Amex really had to do was that to win. And that's why they're being called the winners overall.
Couple of things. When it comes to the 1.5, are you talking about 1.5 as an earning category? Or are you talking about like 1.5 in their travel portal as a burning category?
I think if they had done either, they would have been out for blood.
Yeah, I think if they did 1.5 in the travel portal as a redemption in the burning side, that would 100% be nail in coffin.
Yeah, because then the gold card becomes 6%, 6 times points on food across the board.
Yeah, that'd be so sweet.
Yeah. So I think either way, but if you wanted to be the one card to rule them all, like you only need to spend $895 on a credit card. Don't get any other credit card in existence. Don't worry about it. We got you. The 1.5 earning would have been huge. And Amex probably, they don't have enough money to do this, but they might have enough money to do both.
I would say if they did 1.5 in the travel portal for every MR point, Chase is done for me. Chase is exiting the wallet at that point. They've taken the one thing left that Chase is really holding on to me as a customer with. And also, you can't do a $600 one night FHR credit. People just burn that one night.
Oh, yeah.
They would just be like, all right, I'm just going to get my one night and get out. If they were
No, but
doing it for $200, they would 100% do it for $600. So they had
oh
to
yeah,
split that up. They had to split that up.
but the fact they got one night on both ends, both half of the year, was a huge win.
I'm still one night adverse, meaning, yo, if you're really just, I understand if you're traveling and you just need one night before you fly out the next day, granted. But if you're making trips around,
Oh
you're
yeah,
somewhere
no,
for like 3 or 4 days and you're in 3 or 4 hotels those 3 or 4 days. I don't know how you do it. Is my point. That's what I'm trying to say.
you're crazy for doing that.
But yeah, they're out there.
Oh, they absolutely are.
They're in your comment section.
The only way I'm changing a hotel daily is if it's a road trip. But even then, when we did the Utah road trip, there's like a few times where we stayed 3 or 4 nights at a place and just used that as a home base. I just can't imagine the logistics and the absolute headache of changing a hotel every day for 4 or 5 days straight.
I'm
That's
on
bonkers.
my I'm on my own, so like I don't have to coordinate with anybody else, and I am sure as hell not repacking my bag and moving hotel to hotel nightly. I no,
Yeah.
no.
I Craig kept mentioning cruising. I actually have a cruise coming up. And when we get off, when we disembark from the cruise, I will be staying one night. And that's we get off, we have that day, and then the next day I'm flying home. So that's what I'm saying, like a one night scenario, which I can get behind, but it's not, hey, let's go over here for a week and then I'm going to use this 2 night credit. Then I'm going to use another, we're going to switch hotels. I'm going to use a 1 night credit. Now, I don't know. I don't understand how people do that. I just want to get there once. And like RJ said, unpack. When I leave, I'll pack back up.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Matt. RJ, you're now big on my screen, so you're next.
So what positive refresh I think does a couple of things. If it's already a good card, I think it has to honor the DNA of that card, right? You took a platinum that knew what it was. Now, did I really want them to go 1.5 or 2x catch all? Yes. Did I think they were going to? No. Maybe for the 50th. I can hold out hope for the 50th of the platinum, they'll change that. But otherwise, I didn't really expect it. So what they did in the refresh was basically just honor what they had. These are
Hmm.
the credits you're getting. This is how we're updating the card for 2025, 2026 going forward. We're not going to put you down to 3x on flights. We're not going to monkey with the major mechanisms of this card. If you like the platinum, we're giving you more platinum. It's like the pimp my ride of credit card refreshes. So we had that, right? That to me is a smart way to refresh a card. If Chase had done that with the CSR, take the card, honor what the DNA of the card is, update it, even if they changed a major component, I think it would have worked better. I think what a bad refresh looks like is if they took the Wells Fargo autograph, right? It's a great 3x card on a bunch of things, right? You've got gas, and I don't have it in front of me, but you have a bunch of 3x categories, right? If they turned that in to a mini gold card, but worse, instead of 4x, it was just 3x on a couple of categories, and then everything else was like 1x for some reason, but they gave you like a food credit, people would lose their minds because that's not actually honoring the card as it is. It's basically refreshing it into an entirely different card. So I think honoring what your card is, if it's a good card. And now if it's a crap card, if it's like 1.25, if it's the Venture 1 card, then yeah, update that baby. Don't honor the DNA, give it a transplant. But if it's a good card, I think you have to do that. You have to honor what the card is, update it, go forward. And for the love of all that is good and holy, do not give it a 4-month window before you refresh it for current holders. Please.
This is what happens when you pizza instead of French fry.
They did something. Oh, but yeah, no. I think it's more simple than the companies want to metric this out to have 86 focus groups. It's not that complicated, guys. It's really not.
Yeah, just don't let your competitors know your next move. I think that was. We've talked about this, so we got the logs. The videos are out there. The CSR refresh wasn't bad. Now it looks bad. It looks worse, but I was there on day one. Matt, you're my witness. Why did you just say, here's everything we're doing in 4 months to your competitors? Everybody out there. I'm sorry.
Leaving us off 20 on the table was stupid.
That was the absolute stupidest business decision any, anyone can make. Period. That was just dumb. Craig, let's round it off with you, sir. You're not
All
big on my
right.
screen though, but you're up there.
Am I big now?
You are now. You've said enough
We
where
are
you're
doing
big
the
now.
thing. So I want to say I agree with you. I think the platinum refresh was actually very good, but also I was high on the platinum stock before that. So you just gave me more of what I already. I'm a simple man. Give me consistency. I'll say this: when I see a card refresh, when I think of a wheat refresh, I think, oh, you added something small or you exchanged something. Prime example, when the venture card gave away the two lounge access passes, the $95 venture card that you could use to get into Capital One lounges, but instead they gave you the $120 global entry. Not a great refresh, not good. I would prefer the lounges, but they gave you something in exchange. But everything else about that card stayed the same. I don't think the CSR was necessarily a refresh. I think it was a complete rebranding of the core image of the card because it does different things now. Yes, you can still dine and travel, but it is not the utilitarian card in your wallet that you can reach for darn near anything. And realistically, even if you're getting 1X, I might be buying a washing machine and I want Chase protection on it. You know what? I will give up an extra multiplier for an extended warranty. Maybe not Chase's extended warranty, but definitely Amex's. And when we say, "Oh, this was a refresh of the platinum," agree with that. You got more platinum. I don't agree that this was a refresh of the CSR. I think it is a completely and utterly different card, but with the same name. So when I'm looking for a refresh, I'm looking for, is there consistency? Are you taking the best elements that you have here and distilling that down? And if not, it's not really a refresh, it's a rebrand, right? Like you changing the Saver one from the Saver to the Saver, and again now to the Saver one. It's been a confusing process on that branding title, but nothing changed on card. We lost Uber and 10X, which that was fantastic. I had so many Capital One miles from that. But the card is still at its core the card. The American Express green card lost the lounge buddy, kept clear, but for all intents and purposes, that is still the green card. You are still using that card for exactly everything that you were using it for the day before this. When I'm looking at a refresh in comparison to a rebrand, I look for consistency. Like change doesn't always have to be the opposite of consistency. So that's it for me. Also, I think you have a new stormtrooper in the back, and I like it. It's the red guy.
Not new, but thanks for
No,
noticing.
no. I've learned something that I've apparently not been paying enough attention.
there's a lot of there's a lot of Lani Easter eggs back there. But no, not new. But thanks for noticing.
Yeah.
It's the only one. I'm usually covering it up in my videos with my body.
Yeah, I was gonna say you normally lean into the other side from my point of view.
Yeah. And that's when RJ says, "Hey, y'all about to go off on a tangent."
I definitely was.
I need just a little light that's just over my shoulder that's like the comedy buttons that just show the different colors as we get closer to tangents.
Ooh, that'd be a fun
Hey,
investment.
hey, as the tangent king over here, the guy that usually is the one that initiates them, I've been really good at preventing the tangents tonight.
You have. I will give you full credit. The tangent wrangler tonight.
I am part of the solution this episode.
Honestly, we need to get RJ a wrap it up button. Just wrap it up, B.
No, because then she'll break the button because she'll consistently be tapping it.
Fun fact: the letters P, Q, and D are all tangents.
All righty.
I think Matt got the title for the night.
When, with that in mind, let's jump topics here. Thanks, Lonnie. We'll go to my topic, and Craig will close with yours. For me, sticking with refreshes in general, is it worth considering a company staying? Is it worth giving weight to a company staying static with their changes, or is it worth giving weight to companies that immediately start realizing the mistake, any potential mistake that they've made with their refresh to a card? Chase has started making changes immediately because they realize that they've erred, and there may still be more changes to bring the Sapphire Reserve back from what it was to what they tried to make it. Do we want to give any weight to companies making deciding to quickly make changes and making those changes? RJ, your thoughts there?
I do think that stability can be good if it's for the sake of stability and not being scared or not knowing what to do. If you're not changing your card because it's working for the consumers, it's working for your bottom line, it's a good place in the market, I'm fine with you not changing things, right? If they change nothing on the green card except for throwing a resi credit or something on there, fine. The green card is great. If the green card works for you, like you don't care about the $150 in theory, right? If that card is very helpful for you, you're good. Where if you take a card that is just stagnant, but the company doesn't either know how to fix it or doesn't want to fix it because they rather do bright and shiny, that's when I have a problem with it. That's when I think there are issues with it. So I think that stability is good, but it's why are you keeping the card the same? And I think sometimes we don't know. Sometimes it's just we can guess, but we can't, we're not inside of those meetings. But I do think stability can be great, right? The double cash, right? There's no reason to change that card. It's a 2x card. Like it's in the title, double cash. There's nothing you have to do with that card. Changing that card would be weird. But if you take the gold card, which got a refresh last year, like they didn't change multipliers, but they did change some functional things on that card. It either worked for you or you didn't, but it didn't change the DNA of that card. The Amex didn't just sit on a 250 4x card and keep it stable. They made some changes. So I think it depends on what you're doing there. It really depends. The reasons, or at least the perceived reasons by the consumers and the communities matter as much on if you're holding or not.
Oh, that's fair. Now, to that end, with double cash, they could just make it just straight 2x instead of 1x when you buy and 1x when you pay, but
I
that's
mean,
a distinction without a difference.
that is splitting hairs
Yes.
thinner than human. I got nothing.
That's fair. Lani, is it worth giving weight to companies suddenly making changes when they feel compelled to?
Sorry, I hit it twice. I think, in the sense of business, if the business has changed and then you make a change because the business, then yeah, it's fine. If you get greedy and you're like, everyone else is doing it and we want more money, let's just make a change. If it's good for a consumer or not, then no. And then I can't condone that particular behavior. And I will say, Both of those have recently happened. Both of those have recently happened. And I'm not calling out Chase or Amex. I'm just saying in the credit card space, some changes have been made, and it's just, we want your money or we need your money. And they just made changes that weren't working. So I'm directly addressing the last part of your question, for mistakes that clearly aren't working. Sometimes they're not even mistakes. Sometimes the refresh is the mistake. By coming out and just like making a change for no specific business use case or reason, that has been the mistake. And Matt, more than anyone, because you do 3 tidbits a day at most recently over the weekend.
Yeah.
You've called them out. You called a lot of different cards and brands out. So go check out Matt's channel. And they're not behind, they're not behind members only wall. They are public. Go check out Matt. I listen to a different Matt video every time I walk my dog. So 3 different videos a day. That's how I know he's out there. He's been putting in the work over the weekend, at least over the weekend. But staying on topic, sorry, RJ, stopping another tangent there. It's okay to be okay. It's okay not to follow everyone else, not to follow, in this case, the leaders. And it's like, just if it works and your consumers are happy and your P&L is up and you're in the black, keep everything the same. Chill. And the thing is, as these cards keep getting higher and higher, an annual fee that is, or too much credit, too much work, if you will, the lower end annual fee cards and $0 annual fee cards are starting to look way more enticing. Like, why do I need 5 cards that have an annual fee when I can get 7 that don't? I might not get the exact same thing, but I'm still going to get some credit, still going to get some benefits. I'm still going to get some perk. It might not be a lounge access, but with all the money I'm saving, I can afford lounge access type of scenario. A lot of people don't think about that particular math. You don't need, we do, well, for Centurion Lounge, but if you're flying United, you don't need a United card. You can just pay and enter. And it's cheaper than an annual fee. So if you're only doing it once, it's cheaper. Along with the first year, it's the blue card in that first year because it's waived, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't need to get into it. I feel like someone's about to call me out in the comments, be like, "Oh, X, what? Yeah, screw you." But yeah, if it's working, don't fix what ain't broken is what I'm really trying to say. That's the perfect line to sum it up. And so when you are trying to fix what ain't broken, you end up breaking something. You'll probably end up breaking something. You should have just left it alone. Everything was fine.
Makes sense. Craig, your thoughts here, and then your topic.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say I will give credit to someone that has seen a mistake and is willing to adjust. However, I think at an individual level that works. And for big, terrible, awe-inspiring changes like the Delta 35,000 for Diamond, that works. But the scenario in both of those cases is that large action came because of it. Looking at the way that Chase has handled the CSR refresh, it and it could be completely fine. They could be making money hand over fist purely for this product launch. I don't know. I don't have access to their books. But the small micro changes every few weeks, I'm not a fan of it. That's just not the way that you market to people. That's not the way that you go about handling these things. Another that has been less than stellar in how they are doing their marketing, Bank of America. The Atmos card should be as much hype as it's getting, should be getting and seeing much more hype, but it is not. And so at the end of the day, for me, I look at this as a marketing question. We're going to make changes. The question is how soon and how publicly. And are we going to give you a heads up, or is it just going to spring on you like a thief in the night? So I think for programs and for loyalty brands, it works. For Chase, the way that it's been happening just does not fit the model of moving things forward or building trust for that matter.
No, that makes sense. I do think moving to make a mistake before it gets out of hand is a good idea. I with Chase specifically, I will give some credit that they fixed FHR and they slapped in another 250 as sort of we're sorry, but I don't know. Needing to do that in the first place was probably was dumb. And yeah, we'll just see what happens with them going forward. Announce the rest of the damn lineup because this can't be what you're supplementing the card with. Anyway, Craig, your topic.
Yeah, mine is an easy one, or fun but easy. Keep, cancel, acquire. What are we doing now that the platinum refresh has happened? The two big players in the game have launched up. So, as my co-hosts, what are you planning on doing in your wallet? What are you keeping? What are you canceling? Are there any luxury or high-end travel cards, or just not that you're looking to acquire over the next 6 months? And how do these refreshes affect your wallet? So, I'm going to kick things off with RJ.
Platinum staying, Delta Reserve staying, Delta Business Reserve staying. Those are my three that are over $600. Like, they're staying. They do the thing of which I got the card to do. So I am happy with all of them. I am considering upgrading my Surpass to an Aspire, but I'm in the middle of getting Diamond because of Hilton put an offer out for stays under certain conditions. So I'm gonna have Diamond by the middle of October. So I might punt that out until the middle of next year at my renewal. My renewal for that card is March. Sometimes Amex will offer you a little bit earlier, but I want to try Diamond out. I stay at Hilton's enough where it's nice, and you guys know how much I love a parking spot, so why not? But otherwise, cards are staying.
Nice. I'll also say this, it's only a 2 point Hilton Honors difference between diamond status with an Aspire versus diamond status using your Surpass. So it could just be a good way to wait, and then you don't have to worry about trying to justify those credits or free night award with an Aspire.
Yeah, the only problem is that the diamond status is conditional on this sort of little journey. If it's something I could have, if it's something I could do every year without spending like 15, 40, whatever thousand on cards, that
Yeah,
would be one thing. But it also will tell me if I like the diamond status for the upgrades and things before I actually commit to the card. So it's a good way to gauge what I like before jumping in.
fair enough. Thank you. Lonnie?
There's no new cards that I need or want to acquire. And I'm going to keep it at need first because I do not need another card. Everything that I want between my front door, my travel day, and getting back home to my front door is covered with all the cards that I got. So as of right now, I'm going to keep the majority of them. Now, if we're only talking of CSR and Platinum, right, as of today, I don't have an answer. I can't really say keep or cancel. Platinum is probably going to be a keeper at this point because now that it's released, we know what's happening. I've already mentioned it earlier in the show. I'm not losing anything. I'm actually gaining a whole lot from the refresh. I'm gaining more than I had before, especially more than the $200 annual fee increase by itself. So there's no reason for me to get rid of it. I am about 90% sure I'm going to keep it. The CSR, I could actually let it go, to be honest. I don't want to because of the way I use it. And I got a lot of chase points I got to burn first. So it probably, even if I did let it go, it ain't going to be anytime soon. It'll be after 2026. It wouldn't be until 2027 is what I'm saying. But like I said, I've been really stopping to think of doing the math, and the math not always being financial, but just being out of the value standpoint of I could get completely out of Chase and be completely fine. Like I got my United cards. I could get out of Amex and be completely fine. I got my direct hotel cards. I can just go direct with airline, direct with hotels, and be completely fine. And you're like, oh, you might pay a little more. Points might be different, but I'm saving hundreds, over $1,000 a year by getting rid of both, where I'm probably still coming out ahead if you want to do that math financially. If I do cancel a card, it might be my IHG card, to be completely honest. The reason why is because we've mentioned this. Credit and I switch companies. We both have. Not that we work together. So for y'all, that sounded like we are like colleagues working together.
I'm not
But
cool enough to be Lani's coworker.
but my old company, IHG, was one of the travel partners. It's one of the reasons why I got the card. I mentioned that before, long ago episodes and whatnot, because while they would book us for work trips in a standard studio room, you flip a coin or roll the dice if you got a view or not. By having the dime or the whatever status, the platinum status with it, I never stayed on the same floors as my coworkers. And that was really nice, just to buy itself to half or $100. Now, I still stay at Intercontinentals, 100% I will. But it's going to be more personal than anything else. And now that I'm paying over $1,000 a year for Marriott and Hilton status, probably going to lean in on that more often. But at the
Fair
same
enough.
time, it's $100 a year. That's not even $10 a month. We'll see.
Fair.
We'll see. But the other aspect of it is, so there's actually really only two things. I know CSR is about to give you platinum status with IHG as well. But that fourth night free, man, when I go to the places that don't have luxury hotels, like home to where my parents live, when I have to stay at a Holiday Inn, that fourth night free, the 10,000 point anniversary, whatever you get on your card anniversary, is instantly a free night right there next to the Holiday Inn next to my parents' house. So it still has value for $100 a year. So I can only say I'm not looking to acquire any new cards for you tonight, Craig.
No, I respect it. I will say I was really shocked about the IHG, even though it's no longer a company partnership there. I just associate you as the IHG person in our Discord, where RJ is Hilton.
I got a lot. I got a lot of experience with them, and I'm actually planning a trip for Tokyo for very early 2026 right now, and I'm looking at IHG. But you got to also admit, all the work trips where they based, if I had to fly to Asia, they put us in an Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Full stop. So I got a lot of IHG points, and once again, for $100, I get fourth night free. So I might as well keep it at least until I burn those. There's a little bit of strategy there.
Fair enough. I'll say this. If you're planning on it, the Conrad in Tokyo, sensational. Genuinely sensational.
I am looking at that one as well.
Oh, there we go. Never mind. All right. Matt, I think I might have a little indication of where you're going, but tell us, keep, cancel, acquire. What are we looking at?
So in the premium travel card space, I'm leaning toward keep on the Sapphire Reserve. I want to see how I need to see how flexible the StubHub credit is. That will I want to do more entertainment things with my partner, and this is a great and organic way to use that credit. There's plenty well beyond like sports. There are so many comedy places around. Like going to a comedy show should be relatively easy to burn that credit from time to time. So that should be easy enough. I want to like at least use the credits and see what I can do with them. At least for next year, a part of the edit credit is now more justifiable, especially if I can stack it at an IHG, get my IHG status reflected, and save $500 on a two night stay with the new IHG credit that they introduced. So I'm leaning toward keeping my Sapphire Reserve. I may try to apply for a Sapphire Preferred if there is a Sapphire Preferred refresh, but that is completely contingent on a refresh happening. We still don't know. If we choose to, so I asked my partner this weekend, over the weekend, we spent a night at a, geez, what was it? We spent a night at a Hilton Garden Inn. It was whatever. Wasn't the best Hilton Garden Inn, and like, no Hilton Garden Inn is ever the best Hilton Garden Inn, but like it was one where I absolutely need the food and beverage credit going forward if I want to go back there. And I don't have a food and beverage credit right now because I don't have Hilton Gold. I asked my partner over the weekend, do you have a preference in the hotel chains that we've stayed at? Because we've stayed at Marriott's, we've stayed at Hyatt's, we've stayed at Hilton's. Like, where would you fall? And annoyingly, her answer was Hyatt. And I was just like, you picked the one that has no availability anywhere. Thank you. So I'll work on keeping Discoverist organically. Fine. It's 10 nights a year, whatever. So I don't know that I'm going to go up with Hilton, although the Surpass would be an easy upgrade option. I would need an upgrade offer on the Surpass, or I'd need to open a new Surpass, or go with the Hilton business card. But that's always that's always a play for gold. I have weaseled my way into getting Marriott Gold without having to do the CSR challenge. Although for $795, the CSR should have Marriott Gold at bare minimum. They put it everywhere else, but whatever. So I have found my way into getting that for $170 a year instead of any of the other price points, and I don't need a credit card to do it. So I'm going to do that. So I've got Marriott Gold. I've got potentially Hilton Gold. We'll see what happens. No, I just needed to find a way to conveniently get Hyatt Discoverist. So I might have to get the World of Hyatt. I might, and not have to. I might end up getting the World of Hyatt card just to elevate my stays at Hyatt's when I go to Hyatt. So that might be the only other card that I look to acquire. Chase, Hyatt, you've been like dancing around with a potential premium Hyatt card for the longest time. The sooner you announce one, like the quicker I can just get that card and just be done with it. That would probably be a card I could go after. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really have much else to consider. I would have to wait for a I don't even know what a good Hyatt offer is anymore because the 2 nights with 25,000 points was probably the best possible offer I could have gotten, but I think that was tranched. And I think they recently did a 5 night credit, a 5 night 1 to 4 earlier this year, but I don't remember offhand because it is now very late in terms of when we're recording. So I would need one of those big offers to come back because I'm putting $15,000 to that card. Ain't no how, ain't no way.
What you mean you don't love the get up to 60,000 point offers that they give us every single time?
Chase, Hyatt, my dudes, give me a 3 month window. Please ask me to spend $6,000 to $8,000 and give me 60,000 points. Don't do this tranche. That tranche is stupid. Tranches are dumb. Be better.
You heard it here, folks. Tranches are dumb. But no, I genuinely agree with you. I will say again, I think the World of Hyatt card, not a great earning card outside of
Nope.
just Hyatt. And especially now that the CSR also gives you 4x, it's eh.
Or 8.
Oh yeah, or 8. I think the one good aspect there is if you are putting spend on the card, you can get a few elite knights. Do our best Keith impression. But yeah, no, just not a super powerful card. And with the category 1 to 4 being shrimpy compared to what it used to be, I find myself hard pressed to enjoy or really like that card. Oddly enough, for me, I'm still torn between am I keeping CSR Platinum? I'm leaning Platinum very heavily, but also I think the CSR is still just a better card than people are giving it credit for. We shall see. That after that, I genuinely have nothing else that I'm looking to acquire. So More than likely, my Hilton Aspire is going to get closed next month, and my Surpass is probably just going to get downgraded to a 0 annual fee. I might go a little bit more heavily into Marriott and just do AA stays. Call it a day. Yeah, that is it for me.
Airline
Handing it back
status
to you,
is
sir.
probably better, more important than hotel status for you.
I'll still have some sense of Hilton. I might keep the Surpass open just to have Hilton Gold. We'll see.
If you got rid of the platinum, keeping the surpass does make a world of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. With that, any final thoughts across the board? All right. Would you like to highlight our new and diamond members? As always, our diamond members are Rex Bleen, Mitch 528, Keith, AP, Double Animal Fries. Sorry, I'm doing this off the top of my head. And Rupert Pond. Sorry, Rupert. Our new silver members are Mark Silvis, John R., fantastic content creator. Go check out his stuff, and Josh Giebel. So thanks everybody for your new memberships. To join the membership, check out stackerpoints.com. That is where you can find all things with the four of us and our Discord. We greatly appreciate that. You can become a channel member at any time on the webpage and through at the YouTube channel or through stackerpoints.com. Check that out. We appreciate you guys for watching. We will see you next week.